time now, as we do in the service a lot of times, but since I know probably a number of you are going to be missing on Sunday, or potentially could be, I thought I would just record this week, that the way, the truth, and the life. We as believers are to be pursuers with truth. We are to stand with truth. And when we do, we know we're listening to Jesus. And truth doesn't just deal with salvation and the gospel and who God is, it's the whole life, because God impacts all of life. So we need to make sure that we are not being lied to and that people aren't being lied to, but we express the truth and share the truth. So in that, talk about COVID once again, to see how have we been doing. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but some of the news we keep talking about as we recover from the holiday surge. Okay, they talked about the holiday surge, Thanksgiving to Christmas. Oh, it was a bad time. Surge upon surge is what they were predicting and talking about, and all that fear-mongering that was going on. Well, this is the United States from Johns Hopkins. You can see the daily number of cases. If you look towards the end, there is November, December, and then you get 2021, which would be January. Okay, so you can see starting towards the end of October, you got the early hump, you got the summer hump, and then you have, and towards the end of October, it began to rose very quickly during the month of November. Before Thanksgiving, it continued to rise, as you see, through Thanksgiving, and then through Christmas, and then it started to level off around Christmas and New Year's, and guess what's happening? The month of January is declining. So I ask you, where was the holiday surge? There was no tremendous surge upon surge from the holidays. You could say, oh, right after January there was a little bit of a bump up. That's true. But during Christmas and New Year's, the cases dropped down. Why? Because labs weren't being done as much, number of cases weren't being taken, and so forth. So they suddenly bumped things up afterwards. The backlog got cleared, and so that's why the number of cases are there. This is why you take a smooth average line that gives you a better picture, and it's a nice bell curve. To be honest, that's basically the shape of it, which is what the typical pandemic outbreaks do, is give you a bell curve. So, whereas what we're seeing, there really was no holiday surge. It was a seasonal surge or seasonal pandemic surge that happened in the fall. Okay, now we also look at here, the state of Pennsylvania, same thing. We see that little, the early bump a little bit in the summer and then go up, and then we come right back down again. And actually we started to decline before Christmas, and that was, interestingly enough, we started to decline right around the time that we were on the 3-week pause of shutting things down. Very interesting on that. Draw your own conclusions. And then here we see, this is the hospitalizations. Yes, you saw the number of hospitalizations that we had back in the beginning of the year, but our cases were like just minuscule. Now you look at the number here. Yes, we did have a lot. We peaked a little over 6,000. Now we are down to we're down, according to this chart, a little about 3,500. We might actually, a couple days, might actually be below that now, depending on who's keeping the data. But still, we are dropping very quickly. Things look a whole lot better than what they did, that's for sure. I just want to give you that idea. But the idea that there was a holiday surge is actually completely just, if the holidays happened to be there because it was, and the surge because there was a surge that was going on. They did not add to it, whether you were spending time with your family or not. You just did not see that in the data. Now, I'm not saying you might find it in some locales, but you're not finding it in the collective data for our state or for the nation as a whole. You're just not. Just thought I'd give you some ideas here. Things are definitely turning around. People say it's really bad. I read the other day a person was saying from the new administration that, oh, it's in a nosedive, we're doing terrible, it's out of control. It is. The number of the data I just showed you, decreasing, hospitalizations going way down, cases across the nation are really dropping. How's it out of control? I have to admit, I wasn't really sure what the person was talking about, but I wanted to give you some data, and here it is. So you can feel a whole lot better about this, okay? All right. God bless.